Code it now. Write a program that will ask a user to input a number and it will print out the square of that number. For example, if a user inputs 4, the output would be 16 since 4 squared equals 16. We also have a hint here that says we will learn various math functions when we learn more about methods and classes. However, some of the easy ones can be applied quickly. When we want to square a number, we can use math.pow parentheses x comma 2 parentheses, where x is the number you are raising to a power and 2 is the power you are raising it to. So now we can use this information to write the solution. So let's go over to our JGraphs window. Let's start a new file with Control N and just hit enter to accept Java as the default. Then let's go back to this old file. Let's copy all the contents, make our life a little easier. Paste them with Control V. And I'm going to keep my name the same, but I'm going to change the date to 5/24. And obviously we want to give this a different name. So let's see, what are we doing in this activity? We are squaring a number. So how about we just call it SquareNum? All right, and then we have to change the class declaration name as well. And then let's get rid of this code inside the main method since we're not going to need it anymore. And one last thing we want to do is we want to include an import statement because it says here in the problem that we want to accept user input. So we're going to need a scanner object. So let's just add that line in right below the very top comment. So import java.util.scanner. Don't forget the semicolon, which add an extra space there. And now we can go ahead and start typing. So the very first thing we're going to want to do is create the scanner object. So we'll just call it scanner in equals new scanner. And then make sure we do system.in and then semicolon. All right. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to accept some user input. So we should probably tell the user what we want from them. So let's do a print statement. System.out.println. And then we have our quotes. So please enter an integer to get square of that integer. All right, and then we close our parentheses, make sure to add our semicolon. Okay. All right, and now what we can do is we can accept our user input. So we're going to ask them for, we're asking them for an integer, so we want to declare an int. So int, and we could just call this, I guess we could just call this num. It's a fair name. And then we can say in.nextInt, semicolon. And now all we want to do is we want to print out the squared results. So let's just store this. So let's see, let's create an int squared equals, then we just do math.pow like we were told to in the hint, num, comma, and then 2. And of course, semicolon. And now we're going to want to print out one last statement telling the user what the result is. So system.out.println, the result of squaring your integer is, and then we're going to do a plus to do concatenation with the string, and we want to print out squared. Close the parentheses, semicolon. And this code is pretty self-explanatory, so I don't think it's necessary to add any comments within the main method, but if you want to, just to help yourself as a reminder of some of the things you're doing, you certainly can do that. Now we're just going to save our file with Control S, and then just accept the defaults. And then I'm going to compile it with Control B. then we see here that we actually got an error. So this is good. So the compiler told us what is wrong with our code. It says here that the error is there are incompatible types. So possible lossy conversion from double to int. So what it's telling us is that we're trying to store the result of math.pow into an integer variable. But in reality, what math.pow returns is a double. So it's actually a pretty straightforward fix. All we have to do is just change the type to double. There we go. And now if we save again and then compile, there we go. Now we got what we wanted. So now we can run the program, Control R. So as we can see, it's asking us, please enter an integer to get the square of that integer. So let's say I want something that I am familiar with. So let's say 9. And there we go. We got 81, which is what we expected.